Hi everyone, we're going to read from Roll With It by Jamie Sumner. And Ellie, in our last chapter, was in the kitchen trying to come up with the perfect baking recipe because she is entering the baking contest. And I can't remember if it's a pie contest or just a general baking contest. So she hasn't decided on that secret recipe yet. So our next chapter is called Bert's Tiny Town. It's damp and dark, but I don't reach out to pull the cord dangling from the light bulb. Nobody knows where I am. I wasn't even sure my wheelchair would fit down the ramp, but it did. So I'm sitting in the quiet in the pitch black of the canning shed. I don't need the light to know that rows and rows of mason jars sit on the shelves higher than I can reach. Meme set mouse traps everywhere, so I don't hold out a hand. But I know what's here. Beans and okra, tomatoes and peaches and blackberries and strawberries and apples and squash. Everything from the garden, waiting to be brought out into the light. Somewhere in here, something's got to speak to me, or not. And that was what her grandfather said to her is, you'll figure out your recipe, something will speak to you. Because after 20 minutes in here, I still don't know what in the world to do. So I back on out when I hear Mom calling and move on to plan B or C or W or whatever I'm on now. I get her to drive me over to Bert's. We pull up and I feel a little hesitant for a minute. I've never actually been inside his house. It's beautiful. Baby blue all around and white porches like it could be on the cover of Better Homes and Gardens, if Better Homes and Gardens ever featured a trailer. There's no ramp though, no way to get to the front or back door. So Mom has to go up and knock for me. Mrs. Acker steps out and gives Mom a big hug. I know Bert's dad from years of shopping at Food and Company, but I haven't met his mom before. She doesn't look anything like I pictured, like Mrs. Claus or a Mother Goose or whatever you look like after having 13 kids. She's tiny with a neat gray bob, and she's shouldering a satchel that looks a lot like Bert's. I forgot she does all the accounting for Food and Company. I guess Bert gets his smarts from all sides. I can't hear what they're saying, but Mom nods and smiles and walks back to me as Mrs. Ackers gets in her car and drives off. Bert's out back, honey. Want me to push you? Nah, I got it. I roll across the grass toward the backyard before she can ask me why I needed an emergency visit to Bert's. I didn't tell her I was actually hoping to catch Mrs. Ackers. But when I come around the corner and into the yard, there's nobody there at all. Just a few apple trees and a patch of weedy garden near a shed. I look back, but Mom has already disappeared down the drive. Hello, I yell, and a couple of birds shoot off from their spot on the telephone wire. The door to the shed creaks open and Bert's head pops out. His hair is crazier than ever, like a chia pet. Ellie? Bert? He looks embarrassed, like I caught him stealing or smoking or watching something on the CW. I was actually looking for your dad. I wanted to ask him a few questions about some spices he might have in the store, but I can come back. No, stay. He walks down the little ramp from the shed, but then stands there. I forget sometimes that without Coralie around, Bert can be hard to talk to. I rock a little in my chair. Some of the blossoms from the cherry trees land on my shoulder. Bert reaches down to pick them off. I see he's got something in his hand. What is that? He pulls it back and looks down like he forgot it was there. We both look together. It's a tree, a tiny tree carved out of clay no bigger than a dime. This is a blackjack oak, native to the Southwest, particularly here in Eufaula. He holds it up an inch from my nose. I look closer. It really does look just like the trees all over town. He cups it and points to the shed. Well, you're here now, so I might as well show you. He helps me up the ramp to the shed, and I see it's bigger and brighter in here than I thought. There are windows at the back, and that let the light spill across the floor, or what would be the floor if it weren't covered, in a teeny tiny town. It's like looking down from an airplane window. This is Eufaula, Bert says. He half smiles, but won't look at me. I lean down to get a better look. There's the lake in the middle and an actual metal bridge that connects our side to the rest of the town. I spot the church and our school, and back down by my feet is Bert's blue house, and also mine and Coralie's. He's even made a gravel path. The Dairy Queen up the road has an actual sign that lights up. Red Oklahoma dirt runs underneath it all. Bert, this... I can't find the words. I know it's frivolous, really, just a bit of fun. Oh, he's gone British. He rushes forward to block my view. No, that's not. It's beautiful. It's not the right word. Maybe genius or epic, but it makes Bert calm down a little. Move out of my way. I want to see it better. He steps aside and points out the grocery and the Dollar General and the tiny cars across the bridge. I spot the Putt-Putt Emporium and something clicks. You helped Bill and Will design the course, didn't you? He shrugs. Why are you hiding this? It's amazing. I take the tree from his hand and study the leaves. Apparently it's autumn here. The leaves are all red and yellow. He sighs and points to the corner by the window. For the first time, I notice the damage. The hills are smashed and cracked like they were hit by an earthquake. Houses are toppled into the cracks. Some guys at school found out. What do you mean, found out? I stayed after history one day to ask Mr. Rollins if he had any old printouts of the town, and we got to talking about it. I guess word got out. He won't look at me. I turn back to the damage. It's like a cake sunken in the middle and crumbled to bits. Who did it? Oh, I'm not sure. But there were notes in my locker. Dudes don't make dollhouses, Roberta. Stuff like that. They smashed up a lot more of it, but I've been able to repair a good chunk so far. Didn't you try to find out? Bert flinches. I didn't mean to be so loud, but come on, I'm furious. Look, Ellie, I don't want to fight. I just want to be left alone. He takes his tree back and sets it in a patch of light near the lake. I reverse back out into the yard. I want to hit something. It happened just before Christmas. It's why I stopped riding the bus. Oh. Like I said, I'm working on fixing it. Dad ordered me new plaster and the new blackjacks just came in to paint. Can I help? It's the least I can do if I can't punch somebody. You want to? Sure. And so for the next 2 hours we sit in the sun and I paint trees in greens and golds. The breeze is cool and we don't talk. For a little while I forget about anything else but the tiny leaves. It's like baking, a total mesmerizing act of creation. And we will stop there. Our next chapter is called A Revelation. And all right, everybody, have a good day. Bye.